I want to open up. My name is Salman Kamajan. I'm the Assistant Director for Student Involvement in Public Relations in the DeBrewer Cultural Center, which is one of the most prestigious Black cultural centers in the United States. I'm also one of the co-founders of the Black Male Initiative Program, which is the sponsor of this program, this lecture series, which is going to be a lecture and then an open dialogue. So I hope everyone, if you don't have pen and pad, that you make mental notes so that you have questions and even comments that you want to engage our guest speaker for the day with after his talk. But Dr. Ronald Ziegler, who's our former director of NBRU, he retired back in August of 2025. He was one of the other co-founders for the BMI program, and along with two undergrad students, Hank Rawlson, who was the president of BSU many years back, and Raheem Duado, who was the student president of the NAACP chapter on this campus. And we founded BMI back in 2005. And so we started off as an organization that met on Saturdays up in the conference room upstairs, and it's a very small conference room. Then we exponentially outgrew that room to the conference room downstairs, which is a bit bigger, probably double, triple the size. And then we outgrew that to meetings in the evenings down here, and you know very well because the brother next to me on my left came to those meetings and has been a supporter of BMI from the community, the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And I'm going to introduce him. I don't have any notes. I don't need any notes. I know this brother for a while. Sometimes when you bring a speaker on, you don't really know them, but you respect their work. You want to get it right. You have the notes, and you're reading from that. Well, I know this brother, and I respect his work immensely. And he's going to get into his story, and I think his story is powerful. He's been on my podcast a couple times, and has told his story very openly. It is a powerful story. So I don't have to ask. I know you're going to get into your story. As the flyer said, from the streets to federal prison to, in my estimation, as a community organizer and an activist myself, he's one of the finest. He's actually one of the finest community organizers and activists that we have in this area, and he's in Washington, D.C., and as he said on my show, and as we talked many times, he said, these are my people. Why am I going to be afraid of them? I can't be afraid of my people. So he's in Congress Heights and Trinidad section of Washington, D.C. He's in places where a lot of people don't drive, but our enemy wants us to be afraid of the youth. And so he's not afraid of them. He engages with them. Edward X has been doing work. It's no secret he is a devout Muslim, found Islam when he was locked up in federal prison. He's a member of the Nation of Islam. He has taught Arabic, continues to teach Arabic, but has also taught a history course. Right? We brought him in years ago, before COVID, right on this stage. He had an open debate with all the people. No, there was no one on the debate, but he was debating all the folks who continue, and some misguided black folks who continue to try to demonize our history or try to minimalize our history. Going back to Ankh. No, it couldn't have been black folks that built those pyramids. It couldn't have been black people that started mathematics and philosophy and religion. And he got up on stage, right on this stage, and debated them all with information, with facts and information. It was powerful, one of the most powerful lectures and angles that I've ever seen. So he does all that stuff, but he's on the ground in Washington, D.C. every single day. As he said on my podcast, you can't come to folks in our communities that are these indigent communities that don't have much outside of the human capital, social capital, which is plentiful, and not have something to offer them in regard to jobs, employment, and things of that nature. You want to put down the guns, you want to put down the crack, cocaine. You gotta have something to provide them. This brother is one of the few that I know, the few that I personally know, that is on the ground, boots on the ground. But he made time out of his schedule to come and to give back. So I really appreciate it. I'm gonna turn it over to my brother. Peace and love. We come from
from a culture and a tradition as black people that we began everything in the name of our Creator and in the name of our ancestors. Because we know that if we are anything of value, it is because we stand upon the shoulders of those who went before us. And as a Muslim, I begin in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I greet you in the greeting words of peace. In Arabic, we say Assalamu alaikum. As my brother Solomon said, my name is Brother Edward. In the streets, they call me Man. That was my nickname in the streets. I like to be engaging, so as I'm talking, if I say something that strikes you, you can interject, and because I kind of like to be engaged. I'm going to tell you about my life story and make a couple of corrections. I'm not from Southeast DC. I'm from Uptown. I work in Southeast DC. Southeast DC is, I don't want to use the term worst of the worst. I don't want to use that term. But in terms of black people, in terms of poverty, in terms of struggle, in terms of gun violence, in terms of our people that need help, those are the people that I work with. So I work for, and I don't work for the federal government. I work for the district government. I work for Councilmember Trayon White. The Marion Barry of our time. If you don't know who Trayon White is, that means you don't know enough about current politics. If you know about Marion Barry in the history of DC and how that he was intentional in helping people, and because he was intentional in helping people, other people were intentional in getting rid of him. So you got to look at that and understand the cyclical nature of history. And if you understand the cyclical nature of history, you'll begin to see Trayon White in a whole different set of lenses. When you think about 13 people in the District of Columbia on the City Council control a budget of $22 billion. You got a population of 700,000 people in the District of Columbia, 700,000. And the budget is $22 billion a year. So the mayor, for 4 years, that's $88 billion. And so for Trayon White to be one of those 13 in a revolutionary capacity, I'm so honored to be able to say I work for the Councilman Trayon White. Because I know what he do. I know I receive the calls. There are 90,000 residents in Ward. I receive the calls every day. People needing rental assistance. People needing utility assistance. People needing burial assistance. Every single day. And we have a government in the district where they investing in dog parks and bike lanes. So I'm honored. I work for Councilmember Trayon White. I'm a native Washingtonian. I was born in 1973. Inshallah, I'll be 53 in August. No black, no crack. And I grew up, I was born to Edward James Ford Jr. and Yvonne Watts, my mother and father. And my father was, I don't like using negative terms, but it's real history, so I gotta say it. My father was one of the biggest drug dealers in DC history, Edward Ford. And he was a Muslim that, if you know the history of the Nation of Islam, prior to 1975, the Muslims was different. Like, you don't play with Muslims. So my father would come from that stock. And with the departure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1975, a lot of those hardcore Muslims went back to what they knew. So my father went back to the streets. And so, you know, he had Muslim values mixed in with some street stuff, gumbo. So I was born, me and my sisters, off gumbo. We knew God's name was Allah. We knew that, we knew not to eat pork, but that was the extent of our Islam. My father had money, so everybody was our uncles. I didn't know they were our real uncles. I thought Muhammad Ali was my father's real brother. I punched the smallest man in the world in the face at the circus when I was little. I know he wanted to do something to me, but because of my father, he had to smile it off. And my father went to prison when I was 6 years old, in 1980. And he has been in prison since 1980, 46 years. My father broke in Lorton, the prison in Virginia. My father was on the street, and there was a guy in prison. And him and my father had a conversation on the phone, and my father said, "I'll come in there and kill you right now." And what somebody in jail gonna say to somebody on the phone that's in the street? Do it. What did my father do? Did it. You can Google, you got ChatGPT. Edward Ford, broken Lorton. That's my father. So this happened when I was 6 years old. My father went to prison. And at that time, I didn't understand the trauma. I didn't understand it, and I couldn't articulate it at that time because I didn't know what it was. Because all I knew was my mother said, "If somebody asks you, is that what your father?" You say, "No." I knew that. "Is that what for your father?" No. So I grew up without a father in the District of Columbia, DC Public Schools. Growing up without a father back then, I remember the shame. Because in school, people got their father. You ain't got your father. You know, your father teach you how to play basketball. Your father teach you how to fight. Your father teach you how to what to say to the girl. I don't have that. I don't have no father. So I used to say my father in the army. And as I got older, low self-esteem, lack of education, no mentor. My uncle became my mentor because I had a gay cousin. My cousin Lamont was a homosexual. And because Lamont was a homosexual, Lamont, that's my cousin. He's never said anything sexual to me. He's never came off sexual. Or this is my cousin. I know you're a man. So, but my father, I don't want you around Lamont. And so they started making me hang around my uncle. But my uncle sold drugs. So my uncle, I got my backpack. My uncle had a backpack like this. And he used to give me the backpack and it would be filled up with marijuana. I was 13. He said, "You know how to get home from here?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "If the police come in here, what you gonna do?" I said, "Jump out the window." He said, "Who you gonna tell?" "Nobody." "Train me. Give me $20. I'm thinking I'm hustling. And one of my friends who used to hustle for my uncle told me, "Man, your uncle got you as a flunky. You ain't getting no money. You pull up, you get money. I don't want to be my uncle no more. I want to be with them. They get money." So I started selling drugs. I was 14 years old. I started selling crack. At that time, crack, cocaine, little caps cost $25. And real little. And I used to selling drugs. And my mother said to me, "Everything in me is telling me you're selling drugs." She said, "I just can't prove it." She said, "But if I catch you," can I cuss in here?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
She said, "I'm going to beat your ass on Georgia Avenue in front of everybody." That's Mom. I don't hustle. I can shoot dice. That's where you get the money from. She said, "Don't nobody win every day." I said, "Mom, they sweet. They don't know what they're doing." Right? And in 1987, October 17, 1987, they had a serial killer in D.C., the Peeping Tom. He shot 10 women, and he killed my mother in 1987. And I remember this vividly. I was on Georgia Avenue. The name of my neighborhood is called 640. And we call it 640 because the apartment building, 600 block of Ward Street. And I was up 640, and my uncle came, the one who introduced me to that lifestyle. He said, man, your mother got shot. I said, your mother got shot from my own grandmother. And he said, I ain't playing out for real. And I'm like, what? Like, how do you process somebody telling you your mother got shot? So I'm like, how? Like, where? She was in the house, how? Like, I can't process that. And he was like, I don't know. They just told me to call you and then let you know. So I called the cab and went to my grandma's house. My grandmother lived in South. My grandmother lived in Southeast. I went to Southeast DC. As I pulled up, as the cab pulled up, it was yellow tape everywhere. So as I was in the cab, I was like, this is not true. He got the story messed up. Somebody told him this is not, you know, you wishful thinking, I guess. Something like this is not true. But as I pulled up and seen that yellow tape and all those police cars and the helicopter, I said, man, what happened? And all I was thinking about was my mother saying, if I find out you selling drugs. And I said, if my mother don't die, I'm gonna tell her, man, I be selling drugs. And I know she was like, how long you? A long time. I've been hustling the whole time. And when I got out the cab, because they had the street blocked off, the cab couldn't turn down, so I had to walk down. So as I was walking, I'm saying on my mind, I know this is not true. It's somebody else, same building or something like that. And as I approached, I heard this lady say, there go her son right there. That spanked me right there. That to let you know, yeah. And when I walked up, the police bum rushed me. And they were like, what's your name? And I was like, what's your mother's name? I was like, Yvonne. And they were like, does she have any enemies? So I'm like, no. Where my mother at? They were like, she been shot. I'm like, how? They were like, somebody shot her through the window. I'm like, through the who? The day before this happened on a Saturday. That Friday, we was watching the news, and my mother said, I wonder who is shooting all these women. And the next day, he shot her and killed her. And my life began to spiral. We had two spirals. When my father went to jail, because my father, we had money. Me and my sister, I left this part out. When we were little, me and my sister had our own apartment. Like, we lived across the hall from my mother and father. And my father had a hole cut in the wall and a door put there, so they could come from their apartment to our apartment. But we lived in an apartment building. So we had money. So me and my sister had our own apartment. We said, you know, you had water bombs. So on the mountain, we had juice bombs. We had water. So anyway, so when my mother got killed, I began to spiral. In terms of, I already had low self-esteem. My father wasn't there to teach me anything. So, selling drugs, Ray, Moop, Moop, and Lil Man became my parents. And in that world, selling drugs, one of the things I learned that if you shoot that gun, everybody is your friend. You ever see somebody shucking and jive? Let a man walk in with a gun. You gonna see somebody start shucking and jiving with him. Hey man, I ain't seen you in a long time, man. And me coming from that, I remember we used to throw rocks at the big boys, mess with the big boys and stuff. I'd rush the window because I was like bad. I'd go to the extreme, I'd flat your tires. And I remember one day the big boys caught me. It stripped me and threw me in the laundromat in front of everybody. And I said, when I get up there, I'm gonna get some get back. And in a small time, within that time, one of my buddies introduced me to guns. I was scared of guns. And my friend, I remember vividly, he said, it's just like telling somebody, come here. He said, all you have to say, come here. He said, well, when you tell them come here, you can't take it back. And I used to always say, come here. I used to have that in my mind, so I won't be scared. Because we human beings at the end of the day. You still a human being, you still have morality, you still have something intrinsically inside of you. So you got to kill that to even function within that world, right? And in the nation they say the self-accusing spirit. So your self-accusing spirit, man, you know you wasn't raised like that. So, but if you ignore that long enough, you become a savage for real. Where it don't bother you. And can you sleep at night? Sleep. Snoring. Can I sleep at night? Yes. And in that world, in 1990, I was a part of a armed robbery. Somebody got shot in the head. It was bad. And I was 16 years old. And I was on the run. At 17, I got caught. My father told me, you're the dumbest criminal in D.C. Who runs on a 3-block radius? I was 3 blocks down the street. Police car on the run. Anyway, so I got charged as an adult. In 1991, I went to D.C. jail. I was in the juvenile block. I went to trial. I was found guilty, and I was sentenced to 15 to 80 years. And at 17 years old, I had my whole life gone. My mandatory release date is 2071. And I went down, Lord. My neighborhood was beefing with like 3 or 4 different neighborhoods at that time. And so I was with it, like, I'm with it. At this time, I'm living that lifestyle. I'm with the foolishness. And I got stabbed for nothing. I got stabbed by some guys that said I killed his brother. I didn't. I don't even know his brother. I don't, like the story, I wasn't there. I don't know him. I don't know who told you that. And I got stabbed 6 times in 1991. Then, when I went down Lloyd, I was with the foolishness, and I saw the dude that killed my mother. I stabbed him everywhere but the bottom of his feet. And they put me out of Lloyd. His name Ricky Brosdale. You can Google and check the people's on. So I'm youngin', but I'm young and wild. And he the reason I started working out. I could add that too. And then he was so strong. I guess when you think he about to die, this joke was so strong. If he ain't had no handcuffs, he would have took that knife from me. You ever seen Child's Play? When Chucky and the lady, that's how I was with him. He had me swinging me around. But every time he moved, but he was strong. And he made me start working out. After that, I got to start working out. And I got put out of Lloyd. I went to Atlanta Federal Penitentiary, 1994. I was a youngin'. When I first got there, D.C. strong, they call it, in the federal penitentiary, they call everybody in D.C. the D.C. blacks. There's no, every other state, they like gang oriented. The Vice Lords, the GDs, the L. Brooklyns, the Stones, the Crips, the Bloods. We don't have gangs in D.C. So they the D.C. blacks. So everybody from D.C. is a D.C. black. So when I got here to Atlanta Penitentiary, the older guy was like, man, they sent you here, they trying to get you killed. You're a wild youngin', you know, in this environment. It's gladiator school. Like, I'm a child for real. Outside of the street experiences, I still get excited. Like, I watch cartoons. Like, I know all the G.I. Joes. Like, I'm a child for real. And now I'm in Atlanta Penitentiary. And they put me in this program called the Slow Down Program. And they had children coming from the streets in Atlanta that had gotten in trouble. And so they would come in. When they would come in, the warden put me in the program. I'm like, you gotta get in it, because you're young. They can identify with you. They see your young face, they tell them how much time you got. You gotta get in the program. So, but I fell in love with the children. because they like, these my people, and they fell in love with me. One of the little girls started crying when she had to leave. She was like, man, she want me to go home with them. She was like my uncle. So it was on C-SPAN. Then I joined the Nation of Islam. I knew I was ready to get killed or something about that. I mean, everybody kept telling me, you need to slow down. You need to slow down. You need to slow down. And usually when a lot of people say that, they probably right. And so I went to a Nation of Islam meeting. And I was anti-religion because I said, people wait till they get locked up and join the Muslims for protection. I'll never do that. But my charge, you know, I wasn't in it for no protection because of my charge. So I ain't had to use that line. And when I went to the meeting, I didn't know black people were slaves. I didn't know that. They said, how many people locked up for killing somebody black? How many people you did something to your own people that they was teaching? And I was in for like an Uncle Tom, and I'm like, oh my God, you ain't never done nothing for black people. Look at you. How many people have done something to a white person? Stand up, raise your hand. This brother named Wayne from Potomac, God. Wayne said, I killed 2 white people. They said, come sit up front. Wayne said, I ain't never done nothing to the black people. They said, all right, we don't want you to teach, go ahead and sit down. And I felt like an Uncle Tom, and I was like, man, I didn't know we were slaves. And so I called my sister. My sister graduated from high school. Guess what she said? I said, did you know how people were slaves and that's how we got this name Ford? She said, no, where did you get that from? I'm like, man, I went to the Nation of Islam meeting and I talk all this stuff about the Muslims. I think I'm about to join. And she was like, well, you know, we was Muslims at first, you know. And I started going to the Nation of Islam meetings. And my cousin Sean, my family, I can go to church, I could be a Buddhist. Anything that's good, they with it. You said, go ahead. So when I said I'm going to the Nation of Islam meeting, my cousin sent me a suitcase full of Farrakhan, audio tapes. And so I started listening, and I realized, I'm just gonna say, stay blunt, I was dumb. I knew I was dumb. Like most dumb people in 2026, they don't know they're dumb. Like if you say something, they'll argue back and forth, you got the facts, and they'll go against the facts.
That's right.
So they don't know they're dumb. I knew I was dumb. So when you say you need to start reading, I'm not going to give you any opposition on that because it makes sense. So this lady named Miss Williams, God always sent me angels throughout my journey. Throughout my journey, every step of the way, there's always been an angel. And it was this black woman named Miss Williams, and she worked in the education department. And she came to me, they used to call me Little Farrakhan. And I always talk about white folks, and I always try to organize the inmates. And she came to me one day and she said, I just was looking in your record, you ain't got your GED. I said, I don't need no GED, I got a GOD. I don't need the white man education, I don't need that. She said, I thought you said that the black people was the first people. I thought you said that mathematics come from Africa. I thought you science come from Africa. White man ain't got no education. Spank me. Sign me up. I had to take my the ABLE test first, like a placement test to see where I'm at. Now I read books now because I'm into the nation and they kind of encourage me to better yourself. So I do read, but I'm not smart. But I read, and I got a dictionary. So if it's a word I don't know, I can go to the dictionary. So watching at the ritual, I used to watch Minister Farrakhan every single day for like probably 10 hours a day for probably 6 or 7 years. So it was like I was on travel with the minister. You could play Farrakhan's DVD and blindfold me. I can tell you what color bow tie he got on, what city is in, what's the name of it. What are you? Back then, not now, but back then. And so when I took my ABLE test pass, I took my pre-GED. It was in black, guy named Mr. Streeter. Hated me. Man, this man hated me. All I do is talk about black folk. He hated me. He put me out of his cultural diversity class. So he said I cheated on my pre-GED. Man, he got me in front of all the white folks. I cheated. He supposed to be a Muslim. Miss Williams in there. So he said I gotta take it over. Then when they put me in the room by myself, like I'm in the slow class, or the class, everybody, oh, he didn't cheat. They checked me. My second score was higher than the first one. Wallahi, Miss Williams said, I'm so proud of you. I know you didn't cheat. Got my GED. Then I went to Florence, Colorado. Got an associate's degree in business administration. I became a certified paralegal. I got like 50 certificates. And I made parole in 2009. And today I work for Councilman Trail Light. That's my story. Boss I might have left out, or you just ask me anything and I can answer it as honest as possible. And if I'm right, I say
I had a question. So, when you said that you had got stabbed 6 times because they thought you had killed somebody, brother, I guess I'm curious about like what that did to like your psyche, like your mental, like how did you like carry yourself moving forward? Like what was that feeling like, I guess, or like how did it impact you?
at that time, I was still into the savage stage. So, me and my buddy got a stick saying, if push comes to shove, I'm gonna do the pushes. So, you ever heard the knife won't hurt more than a gunshot? That's true. I learned that's true. It made me just more aggressive, more observant and being on point in that type of environment. But all of the issues that I had with the people that I had them with back then, like we worked together. Like Anton White, his neighborhood and my neighborhood was beefing. People that died from both our neighborhoods. Like we worked together. We go to DC jail together. And we did like 2 years ago, we did a sit down in DC jail in front of the inmates. Because our neighborhood still, the youngest don't even know why they beefing. They like, yeah, Tom, because they said, man, the dude, man, he's still, man, right there. Oh, man, you ain't y'all looking at me crazy. But like me and Tom, that's my brother. I love Tom. Tom know where I live at. I know where he live at, where he lay his head at. And like, he was the leader of a group. And I was in a group, I wasn't a leader, but I was in a group from a neighborhood of some ignorant black people full of self-hatred and wanted a name. I wanted a name, I wanted, you know, I wanted a name. I had a little self-esteem, and I was in an environment that to get a name, this is what you gotta do. And so I did. And threw my life away. But in there, I gained, and Brother Mark, I wanted to say this before he left. One day, I was in the mosque, and I went to Howard University. They had a Nation of Islam Student Association at Howard University. And Mark was a part of the Student Association. And when we left, I was riding with Mark, and he was telling me something about Arabic. And I was like, how do you know Arabic? And he was like, I taught myself Arabic. I was working in a kebab spot, and they was talking about black people. And I just learned the language. And he inspired me. I'm like, how? So he's like, I'm the black man. And when he said that, when I went home, I was up all night thinking about that. Because in the nation, they teach the black man can do anything if you put your mind to it. So I'm already familiar with that. But to see somebody do it, messed me up. And I said, I'm gonna learn Arabic. And I started studying Arabic. And today I can read like 7 languages. Because of Mark. Like Mark, he inspired me out of 6, but he opened up the realm of possibilities in my mind. And he showed me that I had the capacity to learn.
Well, which language?
Oh, Arabic, Hebrew, Aramaic, Medulla, Greek, Latin, English.
Edward, how you, if you could touch on this, I mean, you go into Southeast DC, as we said earlier, places where a lot of folks are afraid to even drive. How are you able to connect with the youth to get them to buy into your messaging? And also, I want to talk to you about, how do you wear what you wear? Why do you wear what you wear when you go into Southeast?
Because I might forget my thought, bring me back to that. I'm gonna answer the second part first. As a Muslim, I believe that the Quran is the guide for humanity, right? And I believe that the solutions to the problems of the world reside in the Quran. If that makes sense. So there's a story in the Quran about Ibrahim. You may know him as Abraham, the prophet Abraham. And there were some statues. The people worshiping statues. And it was 3 statues. And Abraham destroyed the 2 small statues and left the big one. And the next day, when the people came and said, who would do this to our gods? Who would do such a cruel thing? And so Abraham said, ask the big one. Ask him who did it. If that's what you worship, ask him. He surely know who did it. And they said, he can't talk. Then he said, well, why did you worship? And it was at that moment that they said he did it. Right? So the moral of the story is, that I got from that is, I know what people worship. I know where our people's mind is at. I know how youngins think. So my message, I tell her the message for their thinking. They like Gucci. I look like I got money. I look like I'm getting money. The young ones, when I come up to them with some combat boots and a dashiki, they like, oh, I ain't right at all. Right? Psychological warfare. That's psychological warfare. And it worked. It worked. When you go among some youngins, the first aspect of your ministry is how you look. Because human beings judge you on how you look. And if you look a certain way, they'll put their guards down. See what this Negro got to say. Right? That's your inroad. So I'm intentional. I know what they like. I know what I'm trying to do. And it worked. So after a while, consistency, they got an African proverb that says, if you work to build up your reputation will work to build you up. So I go among the youngers, look at a real Gucci man right there. All the youngers gonna sit in the circle, I got him. I got him. It worked. And so we use it as an organizer too. My clothes, and I also learned this from Dr. Khalid Muhammad. He said, your clothes cause your wardrobe. Wardrobe. So he said, camouflage. If you're in the military and you fighting and it's in the snow, your camouflage is white, so you can blend in. If you're in the jungle, it's green, so you can blend in. If you're in the desert, it's tan for the sand, so you can blend in. So I worked at a council, I'll come in there with a suit on. I'm among the white folks. If I don't tell you my background, you wouldn't know. You think I'm a lawyer, legislative director. Who sat by the door. And then it also affords me opportunity to go among my people. I can get among the youngins, I can go to DC jail. And so I built up my stock. I'm gonna give you a trick. It's one of my tricks. When I go to DC jail, we already know who. We watch the news. We got Instagram, Kill More News. We know who's doing what. When you get in, you know what he locked up for. You just seen it on the news. Lock in with him. I'm about to mentor you. Write a letter to the judge. Connect with his lawyer. I got a job for you when you get out. When you go to court, I'm going to court for you. We got a program at DC jail. When he tell all his little youngins, man, that's my man, and none of y'all better not say nothing crazy to him. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to get in line. All of them. Once you get the leader, I was telling Solomon, you say the Wizard of Oz. When she threw that water on the Wicked Witch in the West, what did everybody else do when the witch melted?
Fall in line.
They fell in line. It worked. If you go in any community, if you get the killer, everybody else can get in line. That's my man. And you use him as an organizing tool. Guess what we do? Get all the little killers. Hey man, won't y'all make all these people out here register to vote? Why? Why we gonna make them register to vote? Cause, see, you can't come with no revolutionary stuff, cause then you gonna lose them. You gotta talk their language, you gotta get in their ear. Why should we register to vote? Because if you're not a registered voter, you can't be on the jury. And that's all of us going to jail. We get locked up. They got all Uncle Toms on the jury. None of us is on the jury because we're not registered to vote. What? All y'all registered to vote out here. Motherfucker. It worked. Build up your political stock. Imagine we do that in every community. And then we get the young and they ain't never been in no trouble. Listen, you don't go to, you don't know, you don't get in the car with them. You're going to be our ASC commissioner. 5 years, you're going to be our councilman. In 10 years, you're going to be our mayor. We got other plans for you. We got to be intentional and invest in our people. Because we are at war. And the war is psychological. But we're losing. We're losing the war. Look how many black children are growing up without their father. That's not a question. I gotta go somewhere else.
I think you answered both, I think. Yeah.
What was it?
How do you connect with the youth?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I identify with the people. I think that one of the things that was a curse to me in my life, the way God worked, it turned out to be a blessing. Because I went to jail at 17. So my frame of reference, I'm still a youngin' for real. My frame of reference, I think like a youngin'. Outside of the books. Because I was like, if you take somebody and put them in prison, it's like putting some food in a freezer. Until it thaw out, it's gonna be frozen. So if you put me in the freezer at 17 and then bring me out at 35, I'm 17. Did that make sense? But I read a lot of books. So I read this quote from Marcus Garvey and I live by it. I don't live by it anymore, but I lived by it when I was in prison. If you read one book a week, that's 52 books a year. He said you'll have more knowledge than the person with a master's degree. He said if you read 2 books a week, that's 104 books a year. You will have more knowledge than a person with a PhD from Harvard University. Did you hear what I said? So I lived by that for years in prison. Reading books, studying. Then when I started learning languages, linguistics kind of open your brain up to a whole nother level. It's like it's a whole different world. And I had God just blessed me with some good stuff. Like I got, my image don't fit the brain. Like I'm really a nerd. Which is funny.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you talk a little bit about your life after making parole? I'm just not concerned, but I just know like a lot of black men who've been in the prison system, they kind of become institutionalized after leaving out the prison system, and it kind of keeps them in this cycle. And so I'm just wondering about like, was that transition
I'm
after
still
prison?
transitioning.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. Every day. Because I was in a space before where I didn't know if I was gonna ever get out.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a reality for me. I didn't have any children. I'm like, damn, am I gonna die with no children? My legacy, no lineage, no nothing. So when I came home, when I first got out, I was car sick. I feel like I was on a roller coaster. My cousin was laughing, oh, I'm like, pull over. I got car sick. And when I came home, when I went to prison, black men had money. And the women didn't have no money. Like my girlfriend, everything she got, I paid for. She don't have no money. If it goes, I pay for everything. Rent, everything. She don't got nothing. So when I came home, culture shock. the opposite is true.
Yeah.
Black woman got everything, black man got nothing. So I can't, what the hell happened? Like you going, she paying for everything. That was like a culture shock for me. The lack of respect, like when I went in, it was just, women kind of looked up to men. And when I came home, the opposite is true. And so it's been an adjustment. I was institutionalized, I'm still institutionalized. But some of the things that I learned, part of my institutionalization is good. Like my reading habit. I'm clean. Who put that right on the floor? That come from jail. So certain features are good. But I'm still institutionalized because sometimes I'm like, it's 4 o'clock. What ain't that jump standing up right now? And then it hit me, it's 4 o'clock. I associate 4 o'clock with standing up count.
I have a similar kind of question. So I want to use your wonderful metaphor of like putting wood in the freezer and then coming back out. Like for those, of course, if you're in the freezer for too long, it's freezer burn, right? There's some kind of like harm and trauma. So beyond like the institutionalization, I wonder how you reflected on, especially all those years, reflected on the impact on your body, on your soul, on who you are as you're coming out of this experience. Like you had so much early years of violence and hurt. How do you then come out of that other side healed? And if you're not, like what does that look like?
Therapy. I think every human being needs therapy. Therapy is good. Like, and the way I was raised is not natural. There are things about myself that I know that I think about. Like I had a staff meeting, I think a month or two, and I said, me growing up without a mother, when I deal with a woman, I never had no say, Mom, what I supposed to do when she say this? Or when she do this, what I supposed to, I don't have that. So I got to freestyle or learn from somebody else's mistakes, or if that makes sense. I don't have that element. So, but it's like when God take away something from you, He adds something to you. If that makes sense. So my life has been like, I don't have a relationship with my family like I would want, because they don't really know me. I got nieces and nephews. I'm their uncle, but they don't really know me because I wasn't there. And there are times that I would want us to be like tighter, or I don't like that. I got a niece. They look up to people that look up to me. But I ain't nothing to them.
Humble.
That's crazy to me. Like, I can't even explain it. Like, the little dudes that they look up to, they'll say, that's your uncle. Duh. So, but I'm still learning. Every day is a struggle. I'm intentional. In showing a black man that comes from struggle and being successful. I'm intentional on that. I'm intentional on not crashing out. Because there's some stuff that you face trying to live a righteous life that, like, bro, you don't know. But you gotta take it on the chin. That's a challenge for me. I think that builds your character, though. Because, thank you. That's one of the challenges I still face, my ego. You gotta be humble, and Minister Farrakhan said you gotta love black people more than they hate themselves.
Yeah.
That's a word.
Yes.
That's a word.
Yes.
So when I deal with that, my ego, try to get my ego in check. Worked for the council member in Ward 8, 90,000 residents, and the most challenged population among our people in D.C. So you gonna get some cuss outs regularly.
Yeah.
But you gonna get some, thank you, you helped me. Man, my lights was cut off. You got, man, thank you, help me. You came through for me. And that's like God patting me on the back, saying, good job.
Just gonna add, oh, that's right.
He
Go ahead.
answered.
Oh, he answered.
Who was it?
So my question was, when I was a kid, someone had hurt my mother too. How do you, I was angry, I'm still angry in my bones, you know. I still, you know, my sister remembers the story, I know. How do you forgive the person who hurt your mom? Because I had a child when I was 18, and so did my sister. Probably always
You
try
said, how
to.
do I forgive the person that killed my mom?
Yes.
I don't necessarily know that's on the table.
Who's sorry?
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that forgiveness. That ain't my job to forgive him. I'm a Muslim, and his mom, like, you did something to offend me. I didn't offend you. You killed my mother and shattered our lives. My sister had children that she wouldn't have had if my mother would have been alive. I don't owe you no forgiveness. Does that make sense? It's that person's job to seek forgiveness. It's not my job to forgive.
Yeah.
So that ain't even, I don't think like that. If you wouldn't ask me that, I would have probably never thought that. He in jail, we never went, forgive him. Nah, I don't think like that.
Right.
There was a guy when I was in prison. He said, what can I do for you to forgive me? I said, if I see you on the street and you actually in the black community doing all that stuff that you talked about, I'll forgive you. If I see you having some, I ain't got no more issues with you. All if your slave's clean with me. So, but that guy, that's the only thing about forgiveness. I mean, I see forgiveness. I've done something to somebody before, and that's why I do positive. Like I work my sins off by doing good. That the Quran says that you're good, outweigh your bad. So I was a hell raiser, and, you know. So I gotta be a heaven raiser, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do, and I try to do it with being intentional with some. When you can measure progress, when you see somebody that's from the streets, they used to carry guns, used to rob people, used to do stuff to people, man, they got a job. And when them youngsters get a job, they be so happy when they get their first check. That make you feel good, like, man, we gonna win. We can win, we just need black men. One thing I've learned, black men is the solution to everything. But the black man stepping up, that's why we losing. Black men ain't stepping up. Marion Bird said, if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. That makes sense. That resonated with you. If you ain't at the table, you on the menu.
Because I know you, and they may not, I just want to like put this out there, maybe you can shed some context on it, is that he continues to do this work in the community not too long ago, and I was going to ask you what keeps you, if you could tell them, what keeps you going despite the fact that, like, not too long ago, he was shot. He was shot not too long ago. I'm not talking about 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
Twice.
Twice. In DC. What, and you get shot, you go right back into that community.
Yeah, I got, my buddy got killed. About 6 or 7 years ago, and I got shot. This was my, like, childhood, we grew up together. And we saw, like, this is my friend. We so tight, Tupac got a song, I Ain't Mad At You. And that's his favorite song. Because he said it reminded him of me when I was locked up, because I'm a Muslim now. And I told him, man, I ain't hustling no more. He's like, what about the gun? I ain't doing nothing to nobody black. He was like, man, you, what lie you, bro?
I ain't mad at you.
So he was like, I ain't mad at you. So he got killed. When he got killed, I got shot. And he got killed, they was outside jumping on each other. And he killed him. And I got shot. Then, like 3 or 4 years ago, some dudes came through the neighborhood. I was outside, I was coming from the movies. And social media molds the community. So if you understand social media and music and how it molds the community, you'll understand the origin of a lot of stuff that happens in our community. So all of the youngins everywhere want to be from Chicago or Memphis. All of the youngins everywhere because of the music. Pooh Shiesty and Lil Durk and King Von and NBA Youngboy, they got an influence on the youngins. And the youngins really try to live those lyrics. And so in Chicago, they're coming, if they beef with somebody, they're coming to shoot the neighborhood up. Whoever out there, I don't care who out there. Because so-and-so on social media talking about what you gonna do, so they come around there and you shoot the neighborhood up. So because that was popular in Chicago, it spread nationwide. So now, the youngins, when they beefing with somebody on social media, the person they beef with never get hit. It's always a child, somebody just was walking down the street and so they just shoot the neighborhood or whoever outside. So I got shot. Some dudes came through, started shooting, and they tried to ambush us. I ain't gonna say ambush me because they wasn't targeting me, but I was out there. And somebody, I heard, I didn't even see it, I just heard it. That's the first time I heard a switch. And when I heard it, I just got down and started running. And I could see the wall. Like they shooting from right here, I can see this, the wall, they hit the wall, but they ain't hit me, I'm low. And as I'm running, I'm like, I'm ready to hit the alley. As I turn to hit the alley, there's two people in the alley waiting on us to run in the alley. They ambushed us. The dude didn't have no intentions of, he just came to shoot so we could run in the alley. There's two people in the alley waiting on us. So it was a guy in front of me. I'm running right behind him. I'm right behind him. And when he turned to the alley, I seen the fire coming up. Oh my God. And they hit him. And as I'm running, I fell and I got hit. And I kept on running. But I feel like God got a purpose for me, and you might not agree with this, it might not make sense to you, and I don't expect it to. I really believe that, not that I'm indefensive, like can't nothing happen to me, I don't believe that. But I do believe that God has a purpose for my life, and in that, I'm protected, if that makes sense.
A couple more questions, and as you ask those questions, he's also a prolific author. He brought several of his books, you know, that you guys can take a look at. You know, he brought some. This is one of his
Got
books.
5 books on Amazon.
5 books, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I gotta stop promoting that. My wife walks, you don't want to talk about your books.
Mr. Nottingham?
Well, no, powerful testimony with your life story and everything.
Contact information? I actually have to hear that, so.
Okay. Yeah. Follow your Instagram too. See what else I do.
And 7, before we leave, I think you wanted to possibly connect about the piano or something like that down the line. Unlocked? Okay. Yeah, all right.
So yeah, I'm saying powerful testimony about your life story and everything.
Thank you.
The converse is you got young folks here on this campus without a sense of purpose, direction, and otherwise. What message would you share with them based upon what you've come to learn and what you've known based on your life experience?
Malcolm X said it like this: either you part of the solution or you part of the problem. And if you look at yourself and know that you're part of the problem, in that, therein lies the solution. Like, I think that we complicate a lot of things. We know what we need to do. We know what's needed in our community. We know what we need to do. We know what's needed, and all we have to do is do it. And if we do it, like, this comes from years of testing this, it works. Like, God is real. God is real. Like, our people, we're going to win in the end. Our destiny is divine. Yeah, we struggling, we impoverished, we killing each other, we suffering from self-hatred. All of that is true. We're going to win.
talked about, how you said, I don't want to misquote you, but you said like the black man ain't doing well, basically, like, or like held back or something like that. So I was gonna ask you, like, what do you think are like some of the main factors that are holding black men back? And specifically like in institutions of like higher learning, like how like black men have like lower retention rates at university and stuff like that. Like, in your opinion or in what you've seen, like what are some factors, what are some of the main factors contributing to that? And, like, how can we rectify that? I know that's a broad question, but.
Just about being intentional. Being intentional, knowing what's missing, knowing what you need. If you know that you're not functioning right proper in class, that means you gotta study a little harder. You gotta cut something off. Maybe less parties. Maybe less hanging out. You know, like we know intrinsically what's wrong. Like the solution is there. You know what's wrong with you. Don't nobody have to tell you that. You know it. When you lay there at night, you say it. Man, I gotta get myself together. Right? I gotta stop doing this. You know what's wrong with you. And we're losing. Our methodology ain't working. When I go to DCJ, I tell all of them to go hard youngins. They got a $22 billion budget in the District of Columbia. Ain't no, name the play you got that's worth more than $22 billion. They're a little bit $30,000. You can do 50 years for $30,000. Think about all your little schemes and your plots and your moves. There's $22 billion over here. This is what you're supposed to be on. You're supposed to be on this move. Organizing your community. Show me your big stepper. You scared of your white people? I ain't scared of no white people. Put a suit on and come in this council meeting. Show me you ain't scared. Tell them how they need to redirect that money. Show me. Show me your big stepper. Put a suit on and come in there. And tell them you're changing your life. You're taking ownership of your community. It's my community, and if there's a budget and money allocated to this community, it should go to us. Me and my homies, we about to be the security around here. We've been around here 20 years. Who's gonna protect the property more than us? Nobody. We'll die for the property. Without the paycheck. So shouldn't they be the security? And we can replicate that all over where black people are. Because it's a budget. And see, one of the things we gotta get out of our mind is we gotta stop separating ourselves from the politics. We gotta stop doing that. I ain't into politics. If you ain't into politics, that's what you're about to be, a victim of politics. You're gonna be a victim of politics, because you ain't into it. You ever seen closed mouths don't get fed? We've been victims because we ain't into that political. You losing, you don't realize you're losing. When do we like re-strategize? This ain't working. I want to be a street kid. That ain't working, bro. Your father was like that. He got 40 years. All your uncles been in jail. When do we reassess and say that ain't working? We got an assembly line of failure. My son want to be a rapper. No, you not my son. No, that don't work. Because in our community, when you want to be a rapper, you want to get big, and then when you talk, you really can rap this anyway. That's cap rap, because you ain't really able to rap. So maybe you really got to kill somebody just to be validated. Then you going to jail. You lose, and we lose. Then you got to get on Instagram and talk about it. Yeah, we just sprinting that blue car. You going to jail. That's a recipe for losing. Who among us got the courage to say it? Everybody just keep on like zombies. And our community lose, and don't nobody want to say nothing. Our relationships is failing because the way they got gender wars going on. Black women don't like black men. Black men don't like black women. They got podcasts. Just tearing each other down. We partners. The black man and the black woman are natural partners of each other. If we are at odds, we already losing. We are already losing. So we have so many recipes for destruction. And we are complicit in it. Like, we with it. We with the foolishness. We going to the party night, man. They gonna come through there spinning. Man, I don't care. We still going. We with it. Does that make sense? So it's just a cultural thing. It's so bad in our community that we have to be intentional because we got a young generation now want to be impoverished. We got a suburban youngers now, they want a struggle story. Get it from the mud. Boy, you want to sit your...
You live in a nice house.
Yeah.
With some nice parents.
They want a struggle story. They alive, man. I ain't nobody never been there. Man, you don't, what? You don't know what struggle is. And sometimes we so pressed as parents to give our children what we never had that we forget to give them what we did have. Morals and principles and structure. We friends, we homies. So as soon as you ain't got no cash out, you ain't. But my point, we gotta be intentional on everything. Like me, personally, I'm intentional going to work. I work at the council. I try to dress professional. I try to do everything different from the way I was brought up, my whole upbringing. And the things that I like now is, like, people might say I'm corny. I like just chilling. I ain't trying to get no name, I don't want no reputation. I want to be known for the, and he down for the people. I'm cool with that.
Because I'm going to register to vote now, I never knew that that's how you pull the jury for it. Before you said that, I was never interested in voting or anything political like that, so thank you for that.
I'm glad you're going to be back to that too, because that's one of the things that we got to use to organize our people. Register to vote, and we run for office. We can't be separated from the policy. In D.C., there's a $22 billion budget, right? And we got in our mind that they're giving us something. Man, I don't be begging the government for nothing. I'm a revolutionary. That's your money. When you went to the store, you just paid for a bag. The bag, that tax on the bag, that's where the money comes from. That's your money. But we separate ourselves and make them feel empowered with our money, so they make rules and dictate out with our money, and we don't benefit from our money. Because we disconnected. And if we connect, we can take over. And it ain't illegal. And you ain't doing nothing wrong. And it's your right. And it's what you're supposed to be doing. It's the right thing to do. We read about Malcolm and all these people back then. You can be that person now. Where's Malcolm right now? You are Malcolm. What will Malcolm do in this situation? And then you do it. What will Huey B. Newton do in this situation? What will Steve Biko do? Then do it. You already know what needs to be done. Then do it. And we organize our community intent. It's a $22 billion budget in D.C. and I don't know which budget, but and we can organize our community, all of it, it's enough money where everybody wins. Everybody can win. All we got to do is be organized. We don't go to meetings. I ain't going to that meeting. I ain't going to no city council meeting. I ain't going to testify. 5 white people going there and they testify. We ain't going. So guess what's on the table? Dog parks. Ain't nobody in the meeting to say no, we don't want no dog parks. Ain't nobody in the meeting to say no, we don't want no bike lanes. So they get the dog park, the bike lane. What we do? Man, all they do is came to white people. That's why I'm getting the stuff. You're the reason why they do it. Your non-engagement is the reason why they do it. If we come in here, and you don't have to do nothing, like we want to get the youngest coming in, they're like, I'm just going over the, you can come in there smell like weed. You're going to make the white people scared. You ain't got to cut your dreads. You can't wear that shiesty. You got to lift that joint up. You can't wear that. But come in here and testify. This is your community. Show some ownership in your community. Why should we do that? You will die for that block. If I go on Instagram and say your block ain't nothing, your homies ain't nothing, you will kill me for that.
That's right.
But you will let the white people come from West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and develop in your community, and you don't get nothing. It's a $100 million project, and you ain't getting nothing. And they walk past you every day, and y'all out there shooting dice and smoking weed and talking crap. And white people walk right past you. And they hire all people that ain't even from the community.
That's right.
And you won't benefit at all from development. They make your taxes, your grandmother, property taxes go up. But you won't benefit. And then in 5 years, they're gonna move you out because you can't afford it no more. They're gonna gentrify it. Because you were not active. You are a willing participant in your own destruction.
That's right, yeah. Oof.
The elephant at the circus, all he gotta do is walk away. The snake gonna come up. He don't even know it. If the elephant walk away, he believe in his mind that the snake can hold him there. That's why he don't move. That's the black community. All we gotta do is move. And we're gonna win. And we're right. I remember we shut down the site on Martin Luther King Avenue,
Yeah.
construction site.
Tell them.
We sat down the site, they called the police on us. The black police was like, that's right. Man, ain't nothing we can do. Y'all ain't broke the law. This ain't illegal what we talking about. Organizing our community ain't illegal. They got people coming in our community. Let me tell you a story. You can look this up. It's this white guy named Tim Chapman. He's from West Virginia. They tore down a Big K liquor store. It was on Martin Luther King Avenue. It had a sign that Big K, if you ride there, you see Big K. They tore it down. Sold it to Tim Chapman. Guess how much for?
$300,000.
No. Not even close.
70.
Tell them. Not even close.
$1.
$1.
$1, and they gave him $30 million to develop it. Changed his life, his family life, and he's from West Virginia. They ain't do that for you. Boy, they did that for you. You know how many people you ain't employed? You would change the trajectory of people's lives to everybody that you mess with like that. Say they ain't do it for you. But how many people they've done that for in the District of Columbia? That ain't even native Washingtonians, ain't even from the community, they ain't even black. They do that all the time. And we don't benefit from it. And so when our communities get built up, we won't come to the meeting. We tell you, man, organize so we can vote, we're gonna get rid of this council member, we're gonna get rid of this mayor, we're gonna get rid of this person who ain't thinking without interest in mind. Man, ain't into all that. Bruh, you the reason why we suffering. Ain't into all that. Back in the 60s, the Black Panther women, if you wasn't no revolutionary, the Black Panther sisters wasn't messing with you. If you was an officer, you ain't in the movement, and you trying to talk to me, you ain't getting my number. We need that right now in 2026. If you ain't down for the people, you kill black people. We ain't messing with you. You a big step, stepping on who? Who you stepping on? Black people, oh, we boycotting you. We ain't with you. If all of us get on that page, guess what's going to happen? If black women say, we ain't talking to little dudes, you don't read books, you ain't into that. You ignorant? Oh, I'm talking to you. Next time you see Taco, we got the only biography of Malcolm X. Y'all don't know y'all own power. Y'all, I'm talking about the sisters, y'all been changed. Y'all don't realize the power that y'all possess over men. I was watching a video on Instagram. This dude killed, had some girls outside. He seen this up. He already told her his big step. He go, she out there, he killed somebody. Women don't know the power that they have over men. So it would be a good strategy to politicize and revolutionize the woman. In the nation, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when you teach a man, you teach an individual. When you teach a woman, you teach a nation. Why? She the first teacher. Who teach the baby? The mother. So if she ain't no revolutionary, you a revolutionary, you go to work, you trying to get some money, what she teaching the baby? She teaching them against everything you stand for. She the first teacher. So it's important to get her. If you get her, she gonna teach your babies right. But if she don't know nothing, what she gonna teach you? Huh? Nicki Minaj. Cardi B. That's all she know. If she don't, if like she don't know nothing, what is she gonna teach our children? If the man don't know nothing, what is he gonna teach her? He don't know nothing. And that's why we lose. So I think that we should be intentional so we can win. I want to be a winner.